All right, welcome to KitaCast, episode 13.
The lucky one.
Oh no, we're this is the episode where we all die.
Oh shit! Spoilers.
Oh Jesus! Sorry. They all die at the end. Sorry guys. Well, it's been real nice. Nah, we're pretty fine. The one
Murder,
who is...
suicide.
Oh my God, Gary! Don't.
We're going far in this.
Oh.
Deep into the rabbit hole.
Wow! Oh God. Okay, Brett, ignore that voice. That's some crazy person jumped in. We have no idea who he is, but he's gone now.
Yeah.
So, the harbinger of doom. Here is Nedu, also known as Albel. To my right is...
It's Gary. Also Gartag.
Yeah, thank God you're
Gar
here.
as fuck Gary.
Gar as fuck Gary. That should be
Definitely not intending to murder.
Yeah, you're not that other weird guy that left and now we're all safe.
Yep, not at all.
And to my left...
As usual, it's Dan, aka Dandroid.
Yeah. Alright, guys. So, this week we're going to talk about Paris Games Week because it just took place and actually it was pretty cool. Like, I think... I can say for sure I was actually a little surprised at some of the announcements and the stuff that we saw. I was actually pretty impressed this year.
Well, I think we were really happy with this one just because it's a PlayStation event.
Yeah.
So just a lot of the stuff we got to see was very obviously Sony centric and yeah, it was amazing that they actually still could keep kind of hold back, a few surprises here and there this late in the year, basically after all the other events that had happened already.
Mm-hmm.
They had a surprisingly good amount of content too. Like they didn't just show 2 trailers and have a show floor.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's usually what happens near the end of the year. Things go stale because basically you have nothing left to show.
Mm-hmm. It makes me very curious what they're going to show at the PlayStation Experience, which I actually know a bunch of people are going to. Oh, I'm so sad that I can't go.
Well, because I think the PlayStation Experience, that's more about experiencing PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they don't have to have surprises there so much as... Here's the shit that you've been waiting to play all year that we've been showing to you in all these trailers.
Well, last year, I can't remember what they had. I mean, last year they did have something. I feel like they are going to have at least a couple announcements there for sure. Whether they are new games or release dates or something, but I feel like they will. But whatever the case is, this was a great event and they had some really cool stuff. So yeah, basically I'm going to just kind of go down the PlayStation blog list that they have. And we'll kind of just comment on what we think about it. And there's a couple other, missions that we'll probably talk about too. So then a couple listed that we will just be like, I don't care. Rah, 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 rah. So yeah, we'll start at the top of their list. Started with Detroit. Yeah. So. Well, Gary, do you want to start?
Actually, Detroit is kind of cool because it's pretty much a continuation of the Kara trailer they showed forever ago in 2012.
It's more or less
it's not a
based
continuation,
on
but it's
the concept of that.
Yeah.
And they finally decide to flesh it out and make a story of it because when people saw that trailer, they were like, "Man, this could be something." Yeah. And then they just never ended up doing anything with that at the time.
Yeah.
So it's exciting that it's now becoming something.
Yeah.
Well, I guarantee that they were already working on what is it, Two Souls or
Beyond Two Souls?
Beyond Two Souls. They were probably, balls deep in that one at that point, so they couldn't work on Detroit.
Yeah.
But I think with the response in that, and I think initially when they wrote that, I think they realized what they had and that they just had to kind of, keep it in their back pocket until it was time. And I'm glad that they did because, the whole Kara thing totally blew me away. Not just because it was an excellent tech demo, but that is my favorite style of storyline through and through because it is very future sci-fi tech, cyberpunk. It has that feel to it. And I mean, honestly, when I saw the full trailer for Detroit, I'm like, you couldn't get more cyberpunk if you tried at this point.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And they just fucking nailed it on every front. And I mean, I picked the name Dandroid because I love robots, I love androids, I love that whole kind of sci-fi feel to that. So they have a fan in me already, and I don't care what they. Basically, if they make that game another, another Beyond Two Souls or another Heavy Rain, and it's that story, I'm sold. I will absolutely buy it and enjoy it.
They it was kind of fascinating that they left a lot of things ambiguous in that trailer too.
Well,
where they were showing the robots and showing the people and how they interact and stuff, and then at the end it's just I'm one of them, but it never said is she one of them as in one of the people or one of the robots? I mean, she's getting these emotions, but she's still associating yourself with the robots or the people or what?
With the
Like,
way
it's
that they do their storytelling, the way they build their games, obviously we all know that they're very story centric. They're it's very much like playing an interactive movie. So the less you give away in a trailer, the better. You want to have those hooks in the trailer, so it catches
people
your
thinking,
attention.
right?
Yeah, but then you have to play to get those answers, and I hope that they keep going that way because. The problem is a lot of, prime example, a lot of movie trailers these days, they give away half the movie before you've even seen it. So I hope that they barely show anything else of Detroit until it comes out, other than saying, this is a bit of the gameplay, this is kind of how it's going to function, and maybe here's a few unique things about it, but stop it right there.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that kind of ruined Remember Me for that was they showed a full tech demo of 2 of the sequences in that game.
Like 4 of them.
And unfortunately, later on down the road, we find out that there's only 4 of those in the game. So, and that's like the core reason why people wanted to play that game. So it kind of really blew away half the game, which, it ruined it for a lot of people. So I'm hoping that Detroit, those guys are smart about that and they keep a lot of that
well, they have been to this point, so I'm sure.
If you remember, like, actually, this Kara and Detroit remind me of 2 things. When Heavy Rain was first shown, they actually did do
They did a tech demo with the main chick from Heavy Rain also.
So, they did something similar with that, which was really cool. Leading up to Heavy Rain, they didn't do as much marketing. That could have been just because they didn't have as much money. But one of the problems with Beyond Two Souls was that they did a ton of marketing and they showed a lot of different sections of the game before it even came out. So that was really confusing to people.
That's just one of the problems with that game.
That's just only one. That game had a few issues for sure. But so I'm hoping they go a different route with Detroit. I'm hoping they learned a little something.
Well, I think clearly just from the trailer itself, they're clearly marketing it as one coherent storyline.
Yeah.
They are not trying to fracture it up and try to take these weird angles on it anymore. It's like this is going to be a single storyline through and through, probably with their usual twists and turns and a few unique mechanics here and there. So totally excited for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I love the concept. I'm not the biggest fan of like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. But you know what? Like, it's the same with those ones. I'm very interested, and I always would give David Cage's games a fair chance every time they come out. Heavy Rain I actually liked a lot, but for some reason it's not one of my favorite experiences. I think I played it way too late and knew too much about it already at that point. So that was probably part of it. And then,
that would definitely
that's true.
kind of ruin the experience.
Yeah. Also, the whole Jason bug thing just destroyed me. So,
but that was entertaining.
No, it was so funny. But unfortunately, every time he said Jason, I just couldn't stop laughing, even in a serious scene. So, but yeah, then Beyond Two Souls, I did not love. Unfortunately, I tried that one a little bit, but I was just like, it's not doing it for me.
Most people didn't.
Yeah,
there were a lot of weird issues like framing and stuff. Like it just like
the framing and the way that they told the story was
it was like so fractured and weird.
Yeah, it's like it
was hard to follow.
For sure, actually, one of the things I really hate when it comes to narrative devices is when you tell a story out of order for no good reason. If you're going to tell it out of order, it better be for a very specific reason. And it better work well, and this is a case where it didn't, unfortunately. So it was just like, oh boy. But you know what? Again, Detroit is its own game. I think that the team has probably Quantic Dream, right? I think they've learned a lot over the years, and I'm really interested to see what this game turns out to be. So,
by the way, did you guys hear about that Indigo Prophecy remake that's or like the redo of it that's coming?
Are they writing a new ending for it?
I don't know, but I heard like there's either like an HD version or something coming out, or like some redo of
because
it.
I would be interested in playing it just because it was their original, so that's kind of like what got them their start and all that stuff. The problem I kind of have with it is that I never personally played it, but I have a friend who is huge into, like, a believer in having, like, really core story in games and everything. And he says that is one of the best experiences he's ever had with an interactive storyline, but he says, he's just like, if you ever play this game, play it until the last half an hour and then shut it off and write your own ending, and guaranteed it will be better than the actual ending that happened in the game.
Wow, that's that bad, eh?
Yeah, apparently it is just it is one of those things where it's almost like they had the writing staff and that, and all of a sudden it was like the last day when they had to write the ending, everyone just walked out the door, and then like the two janitors that were standing there cleaning up after said, yeah, this happened, and then they just wrote that in, and that's what happened. So it's very unfortunate because he is adamant that it is an amazing game. He absolutely loved the story until
I
the
remember
last
when it came out on
hour.
PS2 because there was like so much hype for it because like everything you did sort of affected how the story.
And that's the thing is, it did a really good job of that.
No kidding.
It'd be cool if Kara or like Detroit decide to redo something like that.
It would be very smart of them to do that, just because, again, with the whole cyberpunk feel of it, and cyberpunk kind of becoming more of a theme in a lot of newer games and everything, I think it'd be genius for them to do that, because people like me that also love Deus Ex, like Human Revolution stuff, those games were based on choices that actually changed the game along the way. So if they did a big core part of that in Detroit, I think that would be absolutely amazing. And they can absolutely do that, because Heavy Rain was a prime example, because they had, 6 different endings in that?
Yeah, that's true.
But Heavy Rain was a bit different because it was all like quick time events and things like that, whereas like theirs was like you have to mop up the blood and put things away.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, is I think that they could
had
work in
more to it like that.
I think with this, because it's a new game and they've learned from some past stuff and learned from other games that have done similar things, I think they're going to include a little more of that stuff, because you are going to be able to. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to, like, after you have interactions and everything, even though you still have that freedom to walk around and stuff. I think if there was a murder scene, or you finish talking to someone and you leave the room, maybe you can go and shut the lights off, or close this door, or cause these things that affect the game in these different ways.
Just like shutting off the lights could turn the game upside down. So
exactly.
Cool.
So just like little things like that can trigger events and everything. So I'm really hoping that's what the direction they go with it.
One thing I'd be remiss to mention if I didn't is I like the fact that it takes place in Detroit for 2 reasons. First one, RoboCop, obviously.
Yes.
but also, like, any game that decides to have a major event and something like that taking place somewhere that's not New York or San Francisco or some such big city, like I think Detroit's a really cool setting for that.
Detroit, just because they went with the Android cyberpunk feel, Detroit is actually a very core city in Shadowrun, which is cyberpunk, like, RPG and everything. So I'm not surprised that they picked Detroit, honestly. Okay. I mean, I think it would almost be stupid if it wasn't in Detroit at that point, because that is a very, very cyberpunk driven city for a lot of storylines.
Okay. I'm not super familiar with cyberpunk stories.
Yeah.
It's mostly because, like, the whole crime and, like, technology to deal with that.
It's more of like a downtown grittiness to the whole city, almost in real life at this point too. It matches that in its sci-fi counterpart. So
Oh, that's fair. But I think I'm really interested in that setting for sure. It's always cool when I guess it can be a double-edged sword sometimes, but I really appreciate when games, especially ones that take place in the future, decide to use real cities as settings. In some cases, it works out really well. In others, like in my opinion, Infamous Second Son, Choice of Seattle wasn't the greatest because unfortunately the city itself wasn't super interesting to traverse, while past games in fictional cities were more interesting. But in other cases, like, it's like, hey, you know what? This is a real city. You will see some cool stuff. Like, you will see some real stuff, and then you could also see what we believe the clear progression of said real stuff will be when this rolls around. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it'll be neat. Next game on the list is Uncharted 4. Multiplayer video. Multiplayer.
It's not so much Uncharted 4 because we've seen that plenty now. But it was multiplayer. It's time to shine, because there was a lot of people who were kind of, I think, worried at first when they showed Uncharted 4, and they showed it was obviously very story driven. They showed some really tasty looking levels from it and everything. But I know that there's a very, very hardcore fan base that absolutely loved multiplayer in 3, and they were kind of clamoring for it to come back and
I was
forth.
kind of one of them for a while.
And Gary was definitely one of those.
I spent a good 3 months just playing.
So sure enough, here it is. I mean, that trailer, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I played the multiplayer in 3 also. Really enjoyed the shit out of it, because it was, for some reason, even though it was mostly just kind of deathmatch, they had fairly kind of standard.
Well, they had the
levels and
treasure
everything.
hunt things.
They
too,
had some of that stuff and everything. But I mean, overall, I mean, you had cover, you had normal weapons, you could kind of customize your guy and everything. But there was something about it, like they just nailed the combat, the control.
Yeah.
It was tight,
like the perks felt good, and like especially all the. You know how in the game, like, you can interact with the environment to do things in the level or to, like, kill enemies and stuff? Like, you can do the same things in the multiplayer in that game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was actually really cool because you'd have to know where to avoid certain pitfalls and stuff.
Yeah, and it was awesome because it was just like...
And that sandstorm! Like, fighting in that sandstorm was wicked.
That one was insane.
Yeah.
No, I think the thing I really liked about it was... basically, when you go for an online multiplayer deathmatch or capture the flag or whatever, you're kind of stuck in two camps. If you play a third-person shooter, it's very fast and frenetic. It's usually kind of sci-fi or medieval, and it ends up being a slasher, but it's very almost unrealistic and kind of just crazy. And then the other side of that is that's when you get into your Call of Duty and Battlefield and like just like all the modern warfare type stuff, and it's first person shooter, no scope, 360 MLG bullshit. And there was no kind of strike in between those two, and I think Uncharted nestled really nicely into that because you had more of a realistic kind of gunplay and cover shooting
for the most part.
Well, I mean, air quotes realistic. I mean, it wasn't about carrying laser cannons and railguns and you know a bunch of like crazy grenades and stuff like that. Like you had real world weapons. You had fun, more realistic levels that were just fun to traverse because they had like different, platforms to them and different stuff to hide behind. The cover gameplay was really well built in. The levels just seemed very well thought out for a lot of people to join in and have fun in them.
Like ruins and stuff are just so perfect for playing multiplayer.
And it was just kind of the whole experience altogether. They just they really got it. It didn't feel like any other. Like third-person multiplayer that I played before, and I mean, from watching the trailer for 4, it just looks like that times 10. Like they just really kind of took it to the next level because they have grappling hooks and there's more power in the PS4 this time, so it's like you're gonna get bigger, crazier levels with more hazards, and they're gonna have an insane sandstorm. I almost guarantee it.
What I really love though was like when you're watching the trailer, you see like you can throw med packs and stuff to people.
That's
like
right. They have power-ups this time.
Like, you can actually help your teammates in ways other than just, like, talking to them.
Yeah,
like someone's behind you or
that
something.
was one of the things that
like,
really...
you could be like, here, have some ammo. Like, I got tons.
That was the thing that popped up, because I liked how you could help your team members, but then they showed that you could get crazy abilities, too.
Yeah.
There was one where she, like, crushed that idol, and all of a sudden she got flaming, like, super speed.
Yeah, and it just, like, ran all over.
And then there was, I think
they sort of had that in 3 as well.
And Drake, threw a totem, and it grew large. It shot lasers out of its eyes and everything. And, like, you know what? As long as they kind of keep that in its own part of the multiplayer, like, if you don't want to play with that stuff, obviously you can turn them off, kind of like playing Smash Brothers or something, like turning off items. As long as they keep that separate from everything, I think that's the best way to go, because... There's going to be some people that like the core gameplay. Like, I enjoyed the core gameplay better. I'm not a big fan of having a bunch of power-ups, but it looks like the ones that they put in there are going to be a lot of fun to use. Like, it looks like they really thought of how is this going to be fun for the player? How is it going to impact the player in the level? And is it going to be fair, like, basically, for, everyone to have these flying around doing crazy things?
I don't know if you remember, but 3 did have some supernatural stuff. Like, the spiders... thing, like the spiders power up and things like that.
I don't...
Like, there were some weird power-ups you could get.
I don't remember, but I didn't play it as much as you did either, so...
but it was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, somebody who's never actually played Uncharted multiplayer, and frankly, again, I'm the sticking mud, because I actually don't like Uncharted all that much. Watching the trailer, I mean, I'm actually kind of interested in Uncharted 4 for 2 reasons. One, because, I mean, as always, it's a beautiful game, so I'm sure I'll play it even if I don't buy it. But the multiplayer looks interesting. Like, I'm okay with the idea that you can use the grappling hooks in conjunction with, like, actually use the grappling hooks in the multiplayer, which is pretty cool. Plus, I'm always a good fan of, like, I mean, I think the term was coined from Gears of War, but I'm always a fan of the good horde mode in a multiplayer game, because I'm not very good at the competitive stuff. Like, I will play that, but I would like probably more to work on a team with people and take out waves of guys.
I definitely agree with you on that front. There's not a lot of online multiplayer that I like where it is just straight up deathmatch. Like Uncharted made it fun.
Yeah, the barrier of entry was like less than.
But
some others.
Yeah.
I agree with you that any kind of horde mode, like they kind of created that more or less, and I was a huge fan of that. Actually, I really liked the survive as long as you can with wave like increasingly harder waves of enemies.
One thing that I love, this is an Xbox 360 game, but in Halo Reach, like I still even to this day sometimes go into the horde mode with my older brother. And what you could do in that one is you can really customize like the types of enemies that you have that go in there, what kind of weapons they may be carrying, what kind of weapons you may have available to yourself. I would love it if there was that level of customization to this as well. Now, I'm not saying that there will be, because I honestly don't know what to expect from multiplayer from Uncharted, because I'm just not familiar with it all. But I would love it if you can have a really deep level of customization as far as difficulty, as far as what the enemies are like, what kind of items may or may not be available. But yeah, like I said, I'm actually quite intrigued as somebody who doesn't care for the franchise at all. So, they got me.
Yep, sounds like they made another fan.
We'll see. We'll see. No, but yeah, exactly. I agree. I agree with you guys. It looks good, and you know what? Like you guys are familiar with it, so I definitely, defer to you guys as well about that too. Like I'd play with you guys as well and see what it's like. But yeah. So another game on the list that we're probably not going to talk about too much. Gran Turismo Sports. I kind of fell asleep while watching the trailer.
Yeah, me too. It was just boring. I didn't really care.
Yeah, and you know what? All right, I know that Nadu and Gary aren't going to have much to say on this topic because
I like racing games. I just don't fucking care about Gran Turismo.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's why you're not going to have much to say on it. Yeah, Nadu likes Ridge Racer, so we're not going to talk about that.
Such good music.
And and so that's why I'm going to talk about this one just quickly because I used to be a huge Gran Turismo fan. Like that was literally almost the only thing I would play. I don't even know how many like hundreds of hours I put in Gran Turismo 2 on my PlayStation. And then I think it was PlayStation it was Gran Turismo I guess 3 A-Spec or whatever. I can't remember, it was the one that came out for PS2, played the shit out of that one. And then when 4 was supposed to come out, or was it 5? I don't know. I started to lose numbers in there. I think it was 5 that was supposed to be like the big one.
It was 4 Prologue for PS3, and then 4 came out.
Right, because that came out at the start, and that was kind of like the teaser.
And then nothing came out for like 5 years.
And then 5 was just like, okay guys, you've been waiting for it. This is the one. It's going to be huge and amazing, and like, it's just going to blow your fucking mind. It's that...
melt your face.
It's going to be like the Gran Turismo you've always wanted,
and it was Forza.
And no, that's the thing is it wasn't Forza because
was really good,
Forza took Gran Turismo's crown
pretty much
because they took what Gran Turismo made, but kind of kept going with it, but made it fun. Gran Turismo almost made, it's not that it made it too realistic, but they just took themselves way too seriously at a certain point and just went off the deep end. And the game wasn't fun anymore. It was so
it's
just
like
cut and dried.
It
was almost it was almost like the game was giving you the cold shoulder when you were trying to enjoy it. The menus were just so blank and bare, and the music just wasn't there, and that's just like some of just the aesthetic choices. The main, like, the core problems with the game at that point were the fact that they started fucking with, like, what you could and couldn't buy. Like, they were literally, oh, well, this schedule of this day, you can go into these specific, like, brand dealerships and buy these cars, but then on the next day, they'd be gone, and you have to, like, wait for them to show up again, and then all of a sudden it was like
DLC.
Oh well, we could no, but that's the thing is they didn't really do any of that. They it's almost like they made fake DLC on the disc by doing something like that. Right. And then the other stupid part was they were like, oh yeah, it's gonna look amazing. You're gonna be able to go in the cars, and they're gonna have all these, like, they're gonna be super detailed and stuff. Yeah, maybe you should have thought about how long it took to make those cars, because out of the 300 or 400 some cars that were in the game, I think 100 of them were modeled completely with the interior.
I thought it was only like 50.
So it was
like a tiny.
It was something stupid low. But so basically, you were stuck with these premium and standard cars. Premium, you could drive from the cockpit. Standard, you couldn't see inside the car because they just didn't model the interior of the car.
They just done a generic model, because some people like driving from that angle.
But it's the realistic driving simulator, so it's like so they didn't want to brandish it with that, I guess, or something. Like I don't know. There were so many wrong things with that game and it just soured it straight up for me. So you know what? I'm not a big Xbox fan, but if I was to buy a 360 or one at this point. Yeah. Forza would be one of the top games I would buy because Forza is the new Gran Turismo. Like they just made it fun. They added the customization of Need for Speed into it because you can do all the decals and you can deco your car with like spoilers and ground effects and rims and everything like that. Gran Turismo took all that shit out of their game, which I was just like, that's it, I'm done. I can't fucking play this game anymore. Probably like
the cars are so perfect the way they are.
And that's the thing is they're just like, these are pieces of automotive art. How dare you try to change the rims on them? It's like, no, we're done here. I'm not dealing with this anymore. So, suffice to say, Gran Turismo Sport is supposed to be like a trimmed down, family-friendly version of their Gran Turismo series. And I'm like, no. Wow. What are you doing? This is like...
The trailer shows every indication it's going to be the same as what you just said.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be.
That same type of game where you can't do things you want to do.
Well, and then the part that bugs me too is like, not only did they cut all that shit out of a fully fledged game that they took 5 years to make, now they're doing a trimmed down version that took less time to make. Yeah. So is it going to be that much worse? Yeah. Is it going to be the same? Either way, they've lost a fan. I don't care anymore. That one is not for me anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, as a person who doesn't really necessarily play racing or car games very often, I eventually I hope to get an Xbox One, and I'm going to buy Forza because Forza's actually a lot of fun, and I mean, especially for more casual players like myself, Forza Horizon is great.
That's the thing is they even have two flavors of it. Yeah. You can get the driving simulator, or you can get the more arcade version.
And even like for the more simulator ones, like those trailers are usually really fun to watch. While this one, I was just like, I don't know like just stop. Yeah. I watched the whole thing, but I can't remember anything about it because it was not that interesting. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really care for that one.
Like watching that trailer reminded me of like a museum tour almost. Like it was just
All right, enough about that game.
Yeah, so enough of that crap.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about Tekken 7.
All right, shoot, man. This is all you, buddy.
For a little bit. I won't take too long about this, but yeah, I mean, I really like Tekken. I think I really I started like with Tekken 3 a little bit. I never had the console to play it, but when Tekken 5 came out, I just fucking love that shit. Tekken 7, I mean, it's been in the wild for a while in arcades and stuff like that, especially in Japan. So it's really exciting that it's coming to console finally. I mean, them saying like, it's going to be on PlayStation 4. It's like saying also the sun's going to rise tomorrow. Like, I mean, we all do. So, but I mean, this one's going to be interesting. I mean, they're going back into... I mean, if you care about the storyline, which is already confusing and nobody does because it's a fighting game.
It's a prequel, is it?
No, it's not. I don't think it's a prequel, but I think like they're going to be talking about stuff that happened before the series, including a lot of stuff about the Mishima clan, and Heihachi's wife, right? So that's pretty interesting. I'm actually pretty interested in that. And yeah, like honestly, Tekken 6 in my opinion was quite disappointing. Like I actually didn't play Tekken Tag 2, which I want to try out, but I've never been a fan of the Tag series or the Tag ones. But Tekken 6 in my opinion was a bit disappointing. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Tekken 7. And I guess I similar with Street Fighter, I'm actually very curious to see if they're going to try and do a little bit more with their story / campaign or like whatever, because I mean frankly the Mortal Kombat games for the past 2 times have been doing really awesome stuff with their story, like with their single player mode.
Well, I think they realize how ridiculous it is and they just start having fun with it.
Yeah, like that's it. And I would love for because Mortal Kombat I enjoy, but I've never been a huge fan of. I would love to see these Japanese fighting games that I love take a similar approach to the story, because I mean,
like just go full DOA.
Yeah, exactly. Just go, just lean into.
Let's go to an island and have a lot.
No, not that, not like that. No, just go like balls crazy into the storyline and just like actually have a bunch of weird scenarios and cinematics, and have you have ridiculous reasons to fight, and also maybe switch around the characters a bit so you're not just going through a bunch of fights and all of a sudden have your like rival battle and stuff like that. But I mean, Tekken always has awesome endings. Like since the PlayStation, they've always had ridiculous ending. So that's something I'm sure they'll have. But yeah, like I'm really interested to see what they do.
Maybe this one can finally get me excited about Tekken, because there's a lot of fighting games that I do like.
Yeah.
Tekken's never really been one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess their fighting style has never really jived with me. Like how it felt kind of snappy and almost clunky to me, but I guess it was like you had to work.
It was more about timing and things. Like, I guess you had to be patient in your fighting.
I guess that
of,
was
just
it.
Going
maybe.
at it.
Yeah, you really do. Like, there's definitely a flow to it. And again, I haven't played Tekken 5 or 6 in a while, so I'm totally out of practice. But once you get into the flow and of it, you works really, really well. Like the combos
there's like a rhythm to your fighting.
Do you know when the launch of that one is?
Oh God, I actually don't. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't worry about it if you knew what it was. Because the one thing that would be on the wish list for that is, again, as I've said many, many times before, if they had character customization in there, like other than, I can make the, Yoshimitsu pink or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't care about that shit. I don't like customizing guys that already exist. It's like, if I can build my own character in that game, you have like an 80% higher chance of me buying your game
like
then.
Like in the Soul Calibur games, right?
Like I've bought every Soul Calibur
Fuck
since
the latest
3.
Soul Calibur. Oh my God.
The
5 is no good.
No, I own 5. I didn't mind it. It wasn't as revolutionary as it should have been.
I think it was awful.
Yeah, but you're critical about that shit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Gary on this one. I really don't like it either.
There were so many rehash characters and shit. It just didn't work, and it was just like they got rid of some of the more unique fighting styles and added in more ones that felt the same.
Can we all agree that 3 was still the best one?
Yeah. 3 is amazing.
Okay, good.
I think
I really like 2 though.
2 was a fan favorite. 3 was my favorite just because it felt like 2, but it had not only character customization, but it had the second side quest adventure mode.
That was cool.
Which was fucking blew my mind.
That was really cool.
They need to do that again. I can't believe that people complain to take that out of the game.
That's why I hated 5, because it had no other modes other than
did you see
story
that
mode
horrible
and,
story mode though? Like that's what I'm.
And the story mode was terrible.
Like I don't want them to do that with Tekken, like that whole like weird pastel drawings and people saying Malfestation 1,000 times and having like, stupid siblings.
I doubt they would do that.
No, I really, you're probably right. I don't think they'd make that mistake again because that was just a huge.
No, I think as far as Soul Calibur is concerned, I think because they haven't had a new one on like the new gen consoles like PS4 and Xbox One. I think whatever they make next, or at least I'm hoping, is going to be like the mind blowing like revolutionization of Soul Calibur.
Just bring back Weapon Master.
Yeah,
God, just bring it back. That's all I want.
There you go. You heard it from Gary. He just wants Weapon Master.
There you go. Fix it.
The game could be a burning piece of shit as long as it has Weapon Master in it.
Yeah, fix it, guys.
No, I don't care about like story mode if it's like gonna be bad. Like 5. So just get rid of it and put in Weapon Master.
But anyways, yeah, so Tekken 7, I can say that the trailer did look pretty jazzy. And yeah, I hope I can at least enjoy this one.
They went full bore EDM though. Like that whole game is probably just gonna be one big EDM soundtrack.
I have no problem with this.
No,
I'm raising my hand right now.
Tekken has awesome music, like fantastic soundtrack.
It's good, but it used to have more variety, I feel like.
It was, usually, Tekken 5 and Dark Resurrection probably had the best soundtrack of the series because it was incredibly diverse. 6's was not nearly as good. I'm praying that 7. I mean, honestly, if it was mostly EDM, I'd probably be okay with that too.
But I'm just saying, it seems like there's way less variation.
I'm hoping that, because I honestly haven't actually. Whenever Tekken comes out, I don't pay too much attention to the arcades because I want to be really surprised when I play it on console. So I'm not sure. And honestly, they do change a lot when it comes to the arcade to the console version, including sometimes music as well. So I'm waiting to see what that looks like. But yeah, anyway, unless you guys have anything else, I'm going to go to the next game.
All right, continue on.
Next game, another fighting game, Street Fighter 5.
Okay, this is one we're all excited for.
Jeez. Okay, that trailer. Damn, does Dalcium look awesome?
And you know what? Capcom has gotten a bit of hate over the last little while for screwing over some of their older franchises and stuff like that. But when they come through and they show that their love for a franchise that is still there, they show it well. I mean. They have had nothing but love for Street Fighter, and it shows. The way that they've handled the marketing of 5, I think has been absolutely amazing.
Yes.
This is how you sell a game. You not only you know, like, you not only take the core thing that makes it good, because, I mean, it's one of the biggest fighting games of all time, so you keep those core mechanics that, you know, the pro fighters and, you know, the noobs alike, they love it. You take the aesthetics that everyone enjoyed that they made and just, you know, clean them up, refine them, you know, really make them your own, because there's no other fighting game that looks like it.
No.
And then, you know, take the beloved characters and tweak them just enough to make them new and interesting.
Yeah.
But they're still, you can still tell they're your beloved characters.
Yeah. What I really liked about the, like, not this trailer specifically, but as they were revealing because first what they showed was, you know, classic, like Chun-Li and Ryu, and for most part their designs look the same. And heck, even when we were talking about this before the podcast, when the game was first showed, like, the resolution of the trailer wasn't that great, so myself included, we're like, man, this kind of looks like Street Fighter 4. But then, like, when they showed it again, and with a higher resolution, just that moment we're all like, holy shit, this looks so much better.
Yeah.
This actually looks kind of amazing. And then, you know, when they started sort of revealing characters, like, you see, all of a sudden you see M. Bison, and he looks slightly different. He's got gray hair, he's got a longer coat. You're like, wow, that's cool, that's an interesting design. Cammy's got some straps on her outfit. Like, oh, that's neat. Then they show Ken, you're like, holy shit, you look totally different.
Yeah.
And then they show alpha characters, and they start showing more characters, and you know, even like old favorites look slightly different, and if they look the same, their attacks and their animations and their style just look so refined. Like
it's about not making new characters so much, like, because they did have a few new characters, but the one it's because what a lot of games like, well, Tekken's a prime example. They'll take the same character and completely redesign what they look like, and you can still tell it's them, but they change every inch of them, every inch of their costumes. Like, this is like the characters aging gracefully almost. You could still like it's them, but like 5 years later.
Yeah,
like Zangief still looks the same.
Oh,
he doesn't age.
Zangief is an amazing man. He will never age.
He doesn't need to. Yeah,
he is permanently preserved with vodka.
He is Red Cyclone. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to change.
Yeah. So I mean, again, props to them for doing that, because they did just these beautiful little aesthetic tweaks, and it just made the characters that much more unique, but that much more. Like, they just add that much more character to them just by changing little things like that.
I think the big thing that really makes it look so much better for me is, like, the little flourishes, like the fire and stuff just looks so much better now. Yeah. Like, it fits in with the art style, whereas, like, in 4 it sort of didn't.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like, wow, it's just like, it's perfect. Like, everything
has the same
blends.
Sort of like, everything looks like it's really from the same world. And they just did such a spectacular job with it. And I mean, even, you gotta admit, compared to 4, the roster this time is fucking amazing. They picked you know, a hell of a stable for this one. Yeah. There's only one person missing that I wish that they kept. Although they still have one character to show, I think.
It's probably Blanca.
No, because apparently Laura is supposed to replace Blanca.
Oh,
she's
is it?
Brazilian, and she has electric powers, so
she's
supposed to be the stand-in for Blanca.
Honda.
No, again, one of my favorites, Sea Viper. She was one of my favorites from 4. So I don't think she's going to be the last character in there, but you know, cross fingers, maybe some cheapy DLC or something like that.
There's going to be future DLC. You know what? It's interesting. Whenever there's a new Street Fighter game, the roster's revealed and stuff like that, I never really seem to have, like, I really hope this character's in, which is strange because, you know, I love the series, but it's like I'm always just like, all right, Capcom, thank you for making this game. I'm okay. I'm always just willing to see who the new characters are. Yeah. And again, there's so many iterations. I mean, I never expected Street Fighter 4 to have a bunch of Street Fighter 3 characters, but then that happened, and I was like, yeah. So you know, and I'm not super familiar with the alpha games at all, but I mean, you know, like, I'm more than willing to try them out, and I'm sure with more characters revealed later on and more DLC, I'm sure there'll be other characters that will all of a sudden jump in, and hey, maybe some of my favorites from Street Fighter 3 might jump in too, so that'd be awesome.
Yeah. See, I mean, because as far as favorite characters go, I'm usually pretty fucking safe, because Ken is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere, so...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm just really, really interested too in the new characters. Like, I really appreciate. Like, I mean, Street Fighter 4 at first when it came out, I think I was not super jazzed on a couple of new characters who are actually pretty good, like Rufus, Alfrete. What was that other new character? I'm not super. I think his name is Abel. The French MMA guy. Like, I mean, they're all pretty okay, and then Seth I hated, but they're all pretty okay, but, like, I just didn't really love any of them, while already the new characters I'm super jazzed about. Like, I love Rashid. I think he looks amazing.
Yeah.
And
Laura looks cool.
Laura looks awesome. Like, I actually
yeah,
really
they
like
did a great job with Laura. She was, like,
Yeah.
I think she might be one of my new favorite characters, just without even playing her yet.
Yeah, like, using Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's a weird thing, because they've got 2 female grappler types in that game, and it's actually, oddly enough, fighting games tend to not have female grappler characters. Well, this game has 2, and they both look awesome. So I'm like, yeah, okay. And then Nick Crawley looks, I think that's his name, the guy with the dreadlocks.
Yes.
He looks amazing. Like, what a crazy design.
It looks like he'd be OP.
Oh, he's kind of scary. Yeah,
That's what I'm kind of scared of.
He should be like.
I think he's gonna be one of those like bigger, slower guys, so he's a little easier to hit. But he's gonna hit like a freight train too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how he plays.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Let's see. Next game on the list is Dreams from Media Molecule. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this one. I mean, I watched the trailer and I'm still just like, I guess it's a construction game where you kind of build your own levels. But even though I understand what they're talking about, like, I feel like I kind of need to at least play it.
You're like, look, I understand what you're doing, but I don't understand what you're doing.
Honestly, that's kind of where it's at. I'm like, I understand what you're doing, I just don't understand how it'll work, what the execution will look like, if I'll even enjoy it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not the greatest at building games either, so it's not super appealing to me anyway. But I'm not super interested in this one. Maybe I'm gonna keep watching it to see what they do.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like, when I saw it at E3, I was like, okay, Media Molecule, crazy, psychedelic, weird-looking dream simulator thing. I'm like, I'm on board with this. It could be really cool because Media Molecule, first and foremost, they do good work. They make solid fucking games. I thoroughly enjoyed like all the Little Big Planet games, and that's kind of almost what I was expecting out of this is that it would be kind of like a Little Big Planet where you could construct stuff and maybe build some game-esque kind of things in it, and really just kind of do these beautiful representations of these things. But when they showed the tech demo in Paris, I was kind of taken back a little because it looked a little more structured and a little less freeform. So it kind of worried me, but I'm with Nadu. I'll keep watching this one to see where it goes. Because again, it's one of those things. It looks like no matter how many times you watch a video of it, I don't think you're ever really going to get the game until you actually play it for yourself. And again, being an artist, I kind of get where they're going with it, because that's what initially got me, it kind of hooked me on it, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a fully fledged game for it to be entertaining, at least for me anyways, because I just like to create things, whether they're visually beautiful or not, it's up to whoever's looking at it to decide that, but, I feel as an artist, I could have fun with this game, but as far as what's actually capable in the game, we still have to kind of see that part of it. So, yeah, I'll keep watching it, and we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I felt kind of the same way. It's like, it seems really ambitious in that you can pretty much do whatever, like set your own rules and everything. But all the parts seem more structured. So like you have to use certain assets instead of making all your own assets and things like that. And it just seems like it's hard to be as creative as possible when you're limited in that sort of fashion. And then like it's fascinating that like you can link to different worlds, and it's just like you play someone's room and essentially just go to other people's rooms and do their thing. It's like exploring other people's dreams essentially. Yeah. And that's what this is all about. But it's like, how do you make your dream in the game sort of thing?
Yeah,
like, it seems like it's hard to work around.
It seems like kind of with the interconnected play and everything, it's almost like it's going to be more of an interactive art museum than a game. So
almost.
I guess we'll see kind of where that ends up. Yeah. I mean, it is going to be cool to see what other people create, because, Media Molecule, as far as that goes, they're going to have lots to play with. Even if you can't create your own stuff, they're going to have a lot of stuff that you could screw around with, I guarantee it. So it'll be interesting to see what other people come up with.
Yeah. I kind of wonder how that cursor thing's going to work. Like, I know it's going to use the touchpad, but, like, how is that going to feel.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
we'll
like-
see. Maybe they'll add
And-
like move support to it too, or something, and
The-
kind of add some stuff to it. I don't know.
The one thing he was like, oh, you can walk by like bobbing your controller and like peek around corners and shit like with motions, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that. I don't know if that's too intuitive. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just feels kind of awkward. But I don't know. Maybe it's great. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, you have to get your hands on the control, I think, to really experience it. So yeah, we'll keep watching that one.
For sure. The next few may not be, may be able to burn through these ones a little quicker, because I don't know if there's a whole lot for us in particular to say about these ones, but Until Dawn, A Rush of Blood. I mean, I actually haven't played Until Dawn yet, which I want to, but I felt it was kind of an odd choice for them to make the next game in a not super well-established franchise completely different at this point. I feel like fans may be a little bit like, no, we want more of this awesome, weird story that makes fun of horror tropes.
Yeah, because that was an amazing game that really came out of nowhere. I mean, nobody expected this smash hit. It's a
PlayStation didn't expect it to be as popular as it was.
It's a huge streaming fan favorite right now. Like, people are going nuts to watch this one because it has so many different endings and so many different characters and all this kind of stuff. And again, it's one of those interactive movies, but I think it's... I think because it explores those tropes and stuff like that, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it just makes it very entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, for them to make a switch from this interactive horror movie where you can kind of choose who lives and who dies to an on-rail shooter almost, like what were they thinking?
Well, it's like VR too, so it's
I know
like,
it's with VR, and you know it might just be their first foray into it because
I think it was just they felt their assets could be used properly in that format.
From what I understand, the studio was working on a type of game like this, and then I think it got wrapped because honestly, it's dangerous these days to make a new IP, especially if you're not the biggest studio, right? So I think it's just like, well, we're going to use these assets and use this IP. And it's something we're already developing. Yeah. So I think that, I mean, it makes sense when you say it out loud. I mean, it's not like I'm not super jazzed on the whole idea, but again, I'm not even a fan of the franchise yet. I haven't played Until Dawn yet. I want to, but it looks fun. It looks fun. So, I mean, in this shooter, I'm not super interested in, so I'm probably not going to pay too much attention to it. But you know,
I've just never been a big fan of rail shooters. So
Umbrella Chronicles is fun. I'm an idiot.
No, you can just take that opinion and go outside with it.
I really like Resident Evil. Even the
Time Crisis. Just kidding. I didn't really like it that much.
Nah, that's fair.
Typing of the Dead.
Typing of the Dead was interesting.
That's an on-rail shooter I'd play.
Yeah, but I mean that's again a game. It obviously doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous way of just playing a game in general. So that one gets a pass because it's very, very different.
All right, continuing.
Robinson: The Journey by Crytek, which is
another interactive VR.
Dinosaurs and robots, blah blah. Not really robots, just one eyeball thing.
It's one like little drone things that follows you around,
taunts you and shit.
And here's what I've gathered from the information that I saw in the trailer and kind of like a small description and stuff like that, is that basically you're a guy who wakes up, you're obviously trying to figure out where you are and why there's dinosaurs trying to step on your face. And through all that, you run into this little floating eyeball orb robot thing, and you can interact with it to do different actions for you. And I think you can actually... that because I think they have eye tracking and stuff, I think you can actually like wink at it and stuff like that, and do stuff like kind of command it with your eyes to look at stuff and tell it to go do stuff. So that part's really cool. Yeah. And that's how they're kind of, I think, going to combat the motion sickness in that one, is that it's a little, I think it's going to be kind of on rails, or it's going to be like dedicated actions that happen, so your body will be a little more ready for it. You'll have those like resting periods between when you're interacting with the robot or stories going on and everything. But I think with, you got to give them props, I guess, for being a new IP and it being something definitely different. I mean, a floating eyeball robot and dinosaurs, so it doesn't sound like anything else on the market.
Is interesting,
but yeah, again, kind of like Dreams, I guess. I need to see more. I need to see what the robot can do or what it can't do. I need to see how you interact with these dinosaurs. I have to see
actual gameplay, right?
Am I just going to sit on my couch for 2 hours? work my way towards 1 to 4 endings and then call it a day? Is that all that's going to happen with it?
Well,
I need to understand like what is actually going to happen in this game.
To be fair, Robinson, I'm not super interested. I wasn't super jazzed by the trailer, but I mean, Robinson the Journey does actually delve into something I thought would be interesting with VR when it's exploring a space that you physically can't, or just taking you on a virtual tour. And I think that can be interesting in some senses, especially if they allow you to kind of maybe, if it's on rails or is like somewhat structured, but it allows you like, oh, hey, would you like to go right or left here? It's like, okay, we're at this canyon. You could either go down the canyon or you can keep running across the top and just kind of explore different things. It may be fun for like,
I think it would be cool if it shows where you're going by where you're looking.
Well,
like if you're running and you're like looking around and you see up a cliff or like
might
down
be that kind of thing. Instead of having a quick time sequence, whatever's happening in that action, whatever you're kind of doing at that moment, that's what's going to affect what happens, rather than press X to not die.
yeah. Like I mean, I would, like if it did something like that, that'd be cool. But I'm curious if it's like, I'm curious to see what kind of locations they're going to go, what the interaction looks like. And frankly, Crydic's always been known for pushing graphical fidelity.
Making things very, very pretty.
So, I mean, whatever the case is, I'm sure it'll look nice. And that in itself may be a good way for people to hop on board VR. Like, because, when you get your fancy new VR machine, you're going to want something that looks really pretty. And that may be a good choice for people.
And I mean, literally, that's the first trailer. Maybe you're a time traveler.
Yeah.
Maybe dinosaurs is just one part of the story. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
Maybe you're the robot eye.
Oh, no.
You're just another robot eye.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
It's like, hey, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Why are we alive? Anyway. So, next one. I won't talk too much about it, even though I'm interested in it, but Matterfall. It's another game by Housemarque, who did, Resogun and oh god, the zombie one.
Everything is Resogun-y.
Yeah. Well, it's just voxels all over the place.
You shoot and everything becomes like crystally voxel thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess.
And this one's just like a pre-rendered video, so unfortunately they don't show any gameplay. Right? So, and it's just like that. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a good game because I think Housemarque makes pretty good games, but I mean, I'm still waiting for Alienation, so I'm more interested in that than Matterfall, which is like a new thing. So. I'm not super interested in this until I see some gameplay. Yeah. But I'm sure it'll be good nonetheless.
It is. It's kind of that period now where it's like if you don't see the gameplay, it's like, Pixar didn't happen type thing. Like we need to see what we're actually going to be playing. Because trailers used to blow people away back in the day because, the visual fidelity of those were just like, wow, that was like the hook. Like you saw these amazing things, then it almost made you kind of believe what you were seeing in the game was that stuff in that cinematic. Now the fact that the cinematics look like the game, that doesn't count anymore. Like they're literally using the same, millions and millions of polygons in that one character in the intro trailer, and then the camera just blends right in, and all of a sudden you're playing the game at the same point. So you can't just use a pre-rendered trailer to sell a game anymore because you have to show us the gameplay.
Yeah, there's zero indication of how this game is going to play. For all you know, it might be like a top-down looking at this guy, and it might be Resogun.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And there's some people who just
crystal monsters,
or it'll be Ikaruga.
No. Yeah, like, you never know what it's going to be.
And some people just don't like certain angles of a game. Like if it is a top-down, there's a lot of people that don't like that style. Or if it's another 2D platformer type thing. People don't like that style. They want a 3D one or something. So
it's nice you can see the concept, but there's like no gameplay. Then you have no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that one. I think. Drive Club Bikes. I don't care.
That's pretty much our only word on that.
Yeah, sorry, Drive Club. I mean, you know what? People like Drive Club. I don't care for it at all. There are other car games I'd rather play. So yeah. Wild. Now that's an interesting one.
Yeah. So this is one we're all definitely excited about. So yeah. First off, one of the things that was kind of going around after they showed off the current trailer that I had to show the other guys was that a lot of people were comparing it to the E3 trailer of last year because if you have them side by side, there's clearly some similarities, but there are definitely some glaring differences too. Yeah. One of the first things is that a lot of people were, I don't know, complaining about, but really noting heavy, is that the skeleton witch doctor character appears to be missing. So
I want a skeleton buddy.
I don't know if they've really confirmed yet or not if he's like actually just taken out of the game, or they chose not to show him in the trailer or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see where that one kind of goes, because a lot of people seem to really like that guy. So
well, not even just that. It's to note that he's just by himself now.
Yeah.
And he's an entirely different looking character.
He's that
more
too.
Like buff and manly and masculine.
He doesn't, because in the 2014 trailer, he almost reminded me of someone you'd see in like a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
I kind of like that design.
And we all agreed that we were actually a big fan of kind of that thicker, more cartoony design. And now he looks more like
he looks kind of generic.
Just kind of a generic, muscly, manly man kind of thing. Yeah. And it took away a bit of that character of him, I think.
Though there are some cool aspects to it. Like
definitely. I mean, like, and we're getting to that. We're just talking about kind of some of the differences you saw. One of the other differences, like, I almost guarantee they didn't get rid of it, but one of the things that was a glaring change from 2014 to 2015 is that their current trailer shows none of the stealth aspects that they showed in the 2014 trailer. Because if you go back and watch the 2014 trailer, there are scenes where they're hiding in snowbanks and bushes, and there's a great shot of him hiding in a mud pit where he's actually completely covered in mud. Like, he looks like a mud monster, basically. And that would be, like, realistic, interactive mud and everything. And that was just... That is amazing in my mind. But in the current trailer, they show none of that. I mean, you still hunt stuff and everything, but they didn't show any of those really kind of interesting stealth aspects, which I'm sure are still there, but we still have yet to see them in an updated trailer.
The biggest difference I noticed was, like, the 2014 one was more about, like, actual nature, like, actually surviving in nature, whereas this one's more, like, spiritual, like, you control the animals, and you, like...
Yeah.
You're not, like, really interacting as much with nature.
It's the same in a roundabout way. It's still that spiritual connection with nature and stuff like that.
But the other one felt more like not supernatural, whereas, like, there's supernatural aspects to the newer one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he can, like, leave his body and control a bird or something like that.
Yeah, so they may have just taken a bit of a different flavor on that one. But, It still works. I mean, it's still a lot of those core gameplay is there, like, of controlling the animals and all that kind of stuff. And
ride a bear.
Yeah.
And ride a bear.
Your argument is invalid. Sorry.
As far as the newest trailer goes, I mean, it's visually stunning. It's an absolutely gorgeous game.
Very interested. Interesting note, just in case listeners don't know, but the guy who created Rayman and Beyond Good and Evil is the guy's making this game.
I didn't know that. So.
That's good news.
Yeah.
That's really good news.
His limbs will just, like, detach. And like, no, I'm actually Rayman.
This is Rayman Origins.
He just unzips his skin and Rayman jumps out.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn. As long as there's no rabbits, we're fine.
But you can still ride a bear.
Yes, ride a bear. No Man's Sky. So this one is mostly, I mean, obviously we all knew about it, but, like, this one was mostly just the date, released in June 2016.
It was just something to give us salivating fanboys something to look forward to next year. We were talking a bit about this one before, and it's kind of just, it's that date in the distance where you're just like, okay, we're good now. I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I wouldn't. I think actually, we were just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed it back a couple months. But I think they really just needed to put a date out there because people keep going like, "What is this? When's it coming?"
Yeah, because people are losing their minds, and then they're gonna get in that kind of set mindset where all of a sudden it's like they keep going months and months without saying even like summer or winter or quarter or whatever. Yeah. They keep kind of putting it off, so they're gonna start freaking out in their mind, like, "Oh, this game's never gonna get made. They keep screwing up. It's broken. What's going on?" And then, so you have to give them that date so they have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people just don't understand how. I think they just don't grasp how infinitely huge this game is, and how much time it takes to make a game like that. Yeah. So give them the time that they need, and you will get a quality product.
Yeah, plus this isn't a AAA studio. This is still an indie game.
It's literally 10 people.
Yeah, this is the guys that made Joe Danger.
Joe Danger did this.
Yeah, although I would love it if the game kind of zoomed out.
There's like one Joe Danger planet.
I was going to say, they should have a planet, just a random planet.
Like a bunch of Joe Dangers just doing tricks all over the place.
I just want it at the end of the game to zoom out. You go to the center universe and Joe Danger's just sitting there, and it's like, this is Joe Danger's origin. And you're like, what? Joe Danger's actually a space god. Anyway, but yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, like, this game is very interesting to many. I'm very excited for this one, and I'd be okay if this was just Space Scanner 2016. I'd be more than okay with just scanning shit all day and night and just like having fun with that.
Well, that's the thing is that I think that's basically what people are getting excited for, because I think they basically know what it is by now. So there's no more big surprises left, unless they have been holding back like big aspects of the game. So yeah, it's just time to look forward to it at this point. Let them polish the game up. Let them do whatever they need to do to it to make it the best that it can be, and give it to us.
Please be excited.
Please be excited for it.
Please be excited. June 2016.
Boundless. Yeah, I mean
Minecraft.
Yeah, it looks like Minecraft and portals that go to other worlds, and I mean, it looks neat. I'm not super interested in this one, but I mean, it's another one where I'll keep my eyes on.
Well, really, it's dreams. Like, you just build your own little world out of your Minecraft blocks, and then they're all attached.
Now, to be fair, though, that definitely has its... it's definitely more interesting, because myself included, I've played a lot of Minecraft. I do have fun creating things like that, especially when it is freeform. Yeah. And something like that can definitely allow that freeform to really go wild, especially with the newer, consoles and PCs that we have and everything like that, allowing for that power to really be unleashed for those type of worlds. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, because, I mean, they haven't shown a lot of it yet. I mean, yeah, it's... basically everyone, the first words out of their mouth, well, it's like, oh, it's Minecraft with portals. It's like, okay, that's a good concept for a game. What else are you doing? Yeah. So, so we have to kind of wait to see more on that, because, I don't think it's anywhere near being done. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
They also have grappling, tether laser things that you can swing on, right?
Oh, of course, because, grappling hooks are all the rage.
They're the bows of this year. Sorry, Gary, were you going to say something? Or no? Okay, yeah. I don't have much to say on this one.
He's mum on the subject.
I'm not too interested in that game.
Mum's the word. So, Riggs, actually, I mean...
yes.
This Sasquatch!
You just saw a really cool anime that apparently existed for a while.
Yes, Gary had to point out that the robots... playing kind of basketball shooter type thing reminded him a lot of the mech robot, car robot things from Basquash, the anime.
Yeah. This one, this game, I guess, has been known for a while. This is the first time I've actually seen it myself. I didn't really know too much about it at all. But yeah, I mean, it looks kind of neat. I actually had to watch some gameplay to get a better idea what it looked like, because this trailer doesn't really show a lot of, it's in engine, but they're showing it from a different perspective than what you'd actually see. And it looked neat. And, it reminded me a lot of Monday Night Combat, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed that game back in the day. And I was like, yeah, this looks a lot like that. It's pretty neat. And I like the aspect that you're shooting each other and trying to kind of navigate this maze and get to the top so you can jump into and basically use yourself as a basketball to score points and stuff like that. So that's neat.
Yeah, I think that in this game, I saw the first screenshot of it, and sure enough, there was a giant robot, and it looked like MLG Pro shit. So I was just like,
Dan was taken.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
it's sports.
This looks fucking cool already. And then when I watched the trailer, I was like, okay, I can maybe get into this, because this is kind of online shooter territory, but it has a sport kind of mixed into it. But there's definitely some tactics to it too, because they're going to have a bunch of crazy arenas where you have to basically work your way up to that center point where you can basically dunk your robot in the center like a basketball. So again, it's almost akin to like a Rocket League type of thing, which maybe ultimately inspired it or something like that, where you take one kind of online game that's a lot of fun to play and then mix it with a sport of some kind, and then just make it fast and frenetic, really colorful, really simplistic. Don't have a bunch of crazy power-ups, don't have a bunch of really difficult levels to navigate and everything like that. Make it about pure player skill. Make it fast and simple and fun, and you will have a winner on your hands every time. Because that one, like, Rigs looks like that type of thing where you could jump in, tell someone, like, this trigger does this trigger does this, you move with this, try to get in the net in the middle, don't die, go. Like, that's the type of explanation you need to play that game, and I'm hoping that's what they're shooting for, because if it is, I'm down for that. It looks awesome. I really love the design of it, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I like that, but I also feel like it would be really cool to have, like, different customizations you can make to make your robot work in a certain, not to a certain extent, to have them play a certain different style, like a defensive game or like a more offensive game. You'd have like faster running or like.
And that's the thing is, from what I've seen in the trailer, they obviously have different types of robots, but I don't know if it's to the point where it's like Armored Core, where you change their legs and their arms and stuff like that, or if it's literally you just pick different units, like you'd pick a Strider or a Heavy Hitter or that type of thing.
That would be cool. I'd be fine.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for. So technically, when you got those MLG guys playing it, be like, oh, well, we're playing with like 3 light guys and 2 heavy, or we're like 1 medium,
can,
1
like,
heavy.
Make different tactics based on
exactly. And then, or maybe you have all light guys because you're quick strikers and everything, and that's just your play style. And that, I think that's what they're going for, because they definitely had a couple different robots in the trailer. So I'm pretty sure that's what they're shooting for with that situation.
Yeah.
So it looks like they have something that is at least going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if it's going to be like a smash hit, but I'll definitely have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There's not too much different for me to say about Horizon Zero Dawn, but they showed the behind closed doors, or at least chunks of the behind closed doors.
They showed like
trailer.
20-minute gameplay, right?
What was
something like that, essentially.
Well,
they showed gameplay a little more in depth. They were talking about some of the RPG elements and stuff like that.
Yeah. This was the behind closed doors thing that that a lot of the press got to see during E3. But it was a bit broken up with the inclusion of somebody from Guerrilla Games talking about what it is.
Yeah.
They went a little bit more in depth with the HUD and with the RPG elements and stuff like that. And I'm just as excited as I was before this.
Honestly, cool. I didn't even need to see this to still be hyped for this game. I'm still fully on board with this one. I love Guerrilla. I love what they do, and the E3 trailer was enough to hook me. I absolutely love that style. I love the theme. It's as long as they don't fuck it up really badly, it
looks like they're not going to.
No, I don't think they're going to. So this one's just gold. Like I definitely am looking forward to playing that one.
What I really liked was like the super minimal UI, like the HUDs and stuff just looked like you didn't need a lot. You just were exploring essentially. Like
that's
you didn't have like a full map. You had like your compass. And
it's so open world and such a gorgeous looking game. Is that I think it's good that gaming companies are finally learning that people don't want giant HUDs explaining everything to them and stuff. You want it to be minimal. Get the fuck out of the way. You spent millions of dollars building this gorgeous world. Let me enjoy it visually now.
Don't have a map full of like 1,000 interest points. Just
some people like that. World of Warcraft.
Honestly,
that's a necessity at this point.
But honestly, like that's something that they do with a lot of open world like Ubisoft games as well.
Assassin's Creed has become so bogged down with a lot of that stuff. They need to
start
minimalizing that stuff, because again, Assassin's Creed, gorgeous looking game, but you can't see half the shit because there's like maps and sensors and all this shit floating around your screen all the time.
If you really think about it, like the whole what weapon is in your hands thing, you could just look at your guy and see what weapon is in their hand. What is the point of that?
You have like high-end graphics. You're standing right behind your character. You have freeform camera. Look at your fucking hand and look at what you're holding.
It's like, oh, you're holding a bow or you're holding a fucking sword.
I don't know.
You'll know.
It's like, give me. You want to have the minimalistic HUD? Have the one button where you hold it, and you have the rotating wheel weapon selection. Do that, and then all of a sudden you let go of the controller or you let go of the button. It disappears and gets the fuck out of the way. You still know what you have in your hand, and you didn't have to even look at it. So.
One thing I'm really interested in seeing, as far as more future stuff for this game goes, is some different environments. I love open worlds. I have a diverse set of environments. I am a sucker for open world cityscapes, so I really hope that we get to explore a destroyed city, like a abandoned city.
Oh, I almost guarantee it. They are like
there's no way they're not going to have that.
They have that shit in the trailer as like foreshadowing. It's like we are going there. Just not right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be like
in the next game.
Yeah.
You'll reach the city, end of game.
Yeah, exactly. Crash roll. No. Anyway.
No.
But yeah, next game. Avicii. I know nothing about this, so you guys can just go.
Oh yes, Avicii Vector.
Music game.
Yeah, basically a musical shooter racer hybrid, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one kind of got me excited because I'm a fan of Avicii. I love EDM music. I love Amplitude, Frequency. I love Wipeout. I love Star Fox. I love like all these like kind of just fast, simplistic shooters, racers, music-based games. So I mean, it looks like from what they've shown in the trailer so far, is that they're kind of really having like a jive of all of those together. Not so much a shooter, I guess, but more of the racing aspect, and then the fact that it's a rhythm game at the same time. So it's like take Wipeout and mix it with Frequency. I guess it is probably the best example of that, except for the one.
Like, I'm not sure if it's a racing game so much as like a points game.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like because you're really not trying to beat someone to the end of the song. Yeah, you're on rails for the thing, but it looks like to be that there's different instruments or different types of tracks that probably control different parts of the song, a la Frequency or Amplitude.
Yeah,
but it looks like the little unit you're flying around. It looks like a Wipeout racer, basically, a hover car.
It's just like wireframe though.
but it'll be interesting to see kind of like what the gameplay is exactly, because they don't really explain it. They just say, or they play some music, they talk to Avicii, and then they show you flying down this tunnel, and you're flipping the different sides of the tunnel and activating these colored blocks and everything. So it's obviously it's a rhythm game through and through. It looks like a tried and tested like rock band kind of feel to it, because you are triggering these sounds at certain times and stuff to obviously get points to finish the song or whatever. But anything outside of that, it's probably still kind of early in its development. So that wireframe stuff that you see is probably going to be filled in with all some visually pleasing graphics after that and everything. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it exactly, and the fact that Avicii's on board with it, like it has his name on it, that he's going to be making obviously most of, if not all of the music in the game. It'll definitely be a pleasure to listen to.
Yeah, and like from what I can tell from the trailer, they really like synced it well with the music. So you really like sometimes with rhythm games, there are like extra notes and stuff, so you like don't really feel like.
It's for the difficulty level kind of thing. It's like, oh, I need this to be harder and stuff.
That really felt like everything you were doing. Well, if you look at the trailer, everything that's happening is like in sync with the song. So like,
yes, exactly.
Because really good.
Again, one of the things that you're adding extra trigger buttons in and all that stuff, that happens in Rock Band and Guitar Hero and stuff like that, because they have to make it more difficult, because you're not playing a real guitar.
Exactly.
You're not holding all those frets, so they can fill in the blanks, which kind of just mislead you in some of the music sometimes, because it's like, why am I pressing this? There's no note here, kind of thing. The entire game is built around that track, so it will make perfect sense whether you're playing on easy, medium, hard, or whatever level of insanity you're going to play on that. So yeah, it'll be really cool to see where they go with that. But it'd be nice to have just another, track-based rhythm game again, because it's been forever since.
Well, Amplitude 2's coming. So
I know.
Right now.
It's one of those ones that's like, well, when is it coming?
Yeah, exactly.
Please, soon.
Yeah. All right.
Ratchet and Clank. So yeah, like this one's actually a remake of the original Ratchet and Clank, which is also being released, kind of promoted in conjunction with the Ratchet and Clank movie, which is going to be coming out. This one, I mean, it just looks awesome. It looks like Ratchet and Clank, and one thing that I actually find amusing is so oftentimes when I see a trailer for Ratchet and Clank, sometimes my initial reaction is like, I'm not sure if this is the movie or the game, which is actually kind of a good thing, because the movie looks so much like the game. And
now more than ever, too, with like new gen graphics and everything.
It looks great. Like just looking at like everything going on, it's like, wow, this looks like you're in the movie.
This is literally one of those series that it's like, if you don't like this series, what the hell is wrong with you? It is just such a fun, simplistic game. Like, you can just sit back and chill and play this game, and it is just you can't not smile when you're playing this game.
I don't know. If you started at certain games, I could say, this is why you don't like it.
I mean,
if you played all for first.
Then you're gonna have a sour taste.
I actually started with Deadlocked, That was a mistake.
Oh, that was an absolute mistake.
I was salvaging.
That's like an arena one, is it?
Yes. If DLC existed, that would have been DLC.
And it had such a stupid story and was trying to take itself too seriously. It's like they're like, hey, people kind of like Jack. Let's do that. And it's like, no, God, no.
No.
They're two different franchises.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
is that's.
Yeah. But I'm glad I didn't write it off because I went back and played the other games. And
yes, I'm glad you didn't because it's it's an amazing series and you know I don't even care that they're doing a I guess reboot. It's not. It's kind of a reboot, kind of not.
Retelling.
It's a retelling, I guess. I guess that is technically a reboot at that point. Either way, I don't care. It's going to be more Ratchet and Clank goodness, and it's going to look better than ever.
There's going to be a ton of new stuff in it,
Maybe they're incorporating the whole time travel thing with that feature series and, like,
you know what,
like,
honestly,
doing a whole, like, Star Trek reboot thing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
With some of the characters and some of the storylines they've had in past games, they could easily write in some of that stuff, too. So, who knows? But either way, I'm definitely excited for it. I absolutely love
it looks like Future on a different level, and a good return to form to what it was.
Yes, absolutely.
As long as Ratchet doesn't find out he's his own grandfather, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with him finding that out.
Yeah, I don't think it was that at all.
Yeah, I don't think it'll do that. Gravity Rush 2. So I pretty much just saw the trailer today. Interestingly, I've never actually really played Gravity Rush, although I like the concept. And Gravity Rush 2 looks cool. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. And with the increased fidelity of the PlayStation 4, I think they'll be able to do a lot more interesting stuff. As opposed to what they kind of did with the first game, which again, I never played, so I'm not super familiar. But it looks really interesting.
Yeah, because the Vita game was definitely an interesting take on that. Like it was it was definitely a fresh IP.
More of a showcase, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, because it was like that's why it was interesting, but it didn't really go anywhere. I guess, and it was kind of unfortunate because I got to play a bit of it, and I was just like, this is really cool. Like it's something very, very different. And now the fact that they were just like, you know what, Vita's great and everything, but this deserves bigger. And I'm glad that they thought that because, holy shit, this game on PS4, the things that they're going to be able to do with this, like the size of the levels, the like size of the enemies or like the amount of enemies that they can have and just the worlds they can build and the stuff they can do, it's just going to be exponential at this point.
Well, now's the time to make it into something.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially like there's the first signs of it with like the different forms and things now where they're actually like expanding and tweaking like the initial idea that they had.
Yeah.
So if they have like a bunch of those and like a bunch of cool new things you could do, then that really will make the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, from what I've seen in the short little demo that they've had, I have already fallen in love with the world. I love it because it reminds me of like one of those kind of almost like vacation islands. Like it's just this beautiful blue sky with this amazing cityscape and everything, and just these really interesting enemy designs and I love that everything is physics based. Like with the gravity, like you turn the gravity off and all the lawn chairs and all the hot dog carts and all like the shit starts flying up in the air and then you can flip it around and it smashes into the ground.
It's a fruit stand.
And it's just really cool that they have all like because again with the power that the PS4 is packing, like they can do that with everything in the game, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what else they do. Like maybe at one point, maybe you're gonna be flipping buildings and shit like that. Like who knows?
I don't know if you ever did this in the original, but you could like pick up people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like
absolutely.
just whip them around.
Yeah.
Like that I didn't see in the PS4 trailer.
I don't think they wanted to show that aspect, but I almost guarantee it's
I hope
in
there's
there.
the people there that you could like flip around and like
just the ragdoll people are so much fun to play with.
So much.
Unless it's Tony Hawk 5. Ooh, too soon.
Oh,
damn, no. But yeah, I played a demo of Gravity Rush once, and the only thing that I had issues with was locking on to enemies. Maybe that was because I was very bad at the demo. I only just started, but I hope aiming's a little bit easier than.
Well, I mean,
if it isn't full gyro, then it'll be fine.
And yeah, we were talking about that bit too because it was
I'm pretty
gyro.
sure you could have used the sticks in the Vita one. I feel like I did.
I think that's it because basically PlayStation's been smart with that ever since the whole layer debacle with the original like launch title and stuff. That you never force a player to use motion controls unless it's absolutely necessary. And I think they've like after that whole thing with layer, they never went back from that. Like it's literally here's motion controls if you want to use them. Or you can use the joysticks.
Or don't.
Go. Yeah. So that's literally the same thing with this. Is that sure? Give them 6-axis control to flip your character around and aim up where you're going and stuff. I'm not personally a fan of that. I love the move controller for what it does in the games that it's really good at. But if there was a game that forced me to use that when all it was just like a third-person shooter, it'd be pointless. It'd be like, why am I flipping this thing around and moving this stuff just to do something I can do with a PS3 controller or whatever? So
exactly.
So yeah, I feel like that may be an option, but they're definitely not going to force you to use it to use 6-axis just to aim where you're going.
Yeah.
All right.
So then there's Call of Duty Black Ops 3. No, I don't care.
It's Blops. Whatever.
I'm sure people like it. Which is fine, but yeah, not really for me.
Anyone who's into it's already into it.
Exactly. People are going to buy it. Star Wars Battlefront. Honestly, I think we talked about it before.
Yeah,
but,
I already gave my full thing on that one last time. So
not too much new there, but I mean, like, it still looks good. So
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they have a lot of respect for the franchise, so they're at least trying to do it well.
It's good use of an IP.
Yeah.
So Battleborn. That one actually, I'll actually talk a little bit about that one in the what you've been doing, but. The trailer was super neat. I mean, as Gary was saying earlier before we started, it's a classic Gearbox trailer with a lot of good humor and also just stylishly showing gameplay while having really cool text and really cool music.
Always a stylish text.
Like you can see the Borderlands like oozing from this trailer. Basically, you see that they're having fun with these characters. They're having fun with this world, and I mean, if the trailer's anything like the game, we're gonna have a blast with this fucking game because it's because first off, unlike Overwatch, which is its kind of pseudo competitor, this has a storyline. This has a single player game. Yeah. So
that was one of their big advertisements. They had like the big list of all the gameplay modes. And
exactly. This has modes. It doesn't just go online and shoot people in the face. So
shoot your friends.
Even though I am very excited for Overwatch, I do want to play it.
Yeah.
But I think Battleborn does have the other side of it where it actually has more going for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Blizzard money, but it also has a storyline and it has more character to it in general. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Anything near as well written as Borderlands 2 would be welcome.
Yeah, that too. Exactly.
Like that's a hilarious game. So,
yeah.
So yeah, suffice to say we've gotten in the beta. So
I didn't.
Well, did you sign up for it?
No.
Yeah.
Well. Oh yeah, no, I'm not allowed to talk about it, but it's just I'm just saying I got in. That's all.
Absolutely.
You guys are your NDAs.
In all honesty, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. I can encourage you, Gary, as well as anybody else, to pretty much just go on the internet to on the interwebs to check it out. Like, I mean, just if you want to.
Is it computer only for now?
No, it's on PS4. That's
nice.
So I'd say. Try. Yeah, so I'd say give it a shot. Try and getting in there. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh.
So there's a couple other notable ones that I got one actually that I wasn't super interested in, but I mean it looks neat. The latest Nier game, which they showed a trailer for. It's odd. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I've never been interested in Nier, and I kind of feel like I should be. And I want to be, but I couldn't never bring myself to care that much.
Maybe this is the one that could make you care.
Maybe. It definitely looks like a Platinum. Like, Platinum's developing this one, and it looks like a Platinum game.
That's basically what did it for me, because the first Nier was just, it looked interesting, but I never got around to playing it. I'm sure I could, because I have a couple friends that have the game, so there is that aspect of it. But from what I had seen before, it doesn't seem like the same game either. But, I mean, that's also because it wasn't a Platinum game the first time around, whereas this time, it is a Platinum game through and through. I mean, you look at it, the pedigree's there. Like, she's just flying around, swinging swords everywhere, left, right, and center, and it just looks like crazy fast gameplay. And, suffice to say, I'm excited for it. Like, I love the overall design. The main character looks cool. She clearly has a different set of weapons, like, almost every single time.
Maybe she.
And, maybe she, whatever. Yeah. And I really like the giant ass robots they have in it too. They have that clunky kind of 40s, 30s like sci-fi design to them, and it's just a really interesting looking game. So
and the musical trailer was neat.
It was kind of like a weird Art and Elko type of music. I don't know if anyone knows that, but
No.
it really was.
Nobody knows your weird music, Gary.
Yeah, it was really like that style of music. I feel like.
Sure. I mean, for me personally, I've never played Art and Elko. I can't even freaking say on the words.
It's okay.
Artelnoco.
Artanelico?
But I mean, it reminded me of a couple of the themes in Madoka. Not that that means anything, because I mean, it's just that style of like almost chanting, singing, like almost haunting, chanting, singing while having some really cool music. A lot of anime and video games do that, so that doesn't specifically mean it sounds like Madoka. It just reminds me of it. But yeah, I mean, I also do know that as long as the Nier franchise exists, my older brother's going to probably buy it and or play it. So I'll probably get to experience this game in some shape or form. But yeah, so that's kind of the end of my stuff. Is there anything else, Paris Games Week, you guys want to bring up?
No, I think that's basically it.
That's about most of it. There were a few like VR games like Dead Secret, but like, really it's just like a few things here and there.
There was definitely a lack of The Last Guardian, but you know what? We'll forgive them for that because it's being made. So
yeah,
I'll
at least we know they're working on it. So
they're trying. They're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. Well, you know, it was interesting. I enjoyed the announcements more so than I thought I would. So that was pretty.
It was a surprisingly good show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's definitely nice to see that so close to the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I guess we'll kind of go on to what we've been doing this week then to round out.
Well, I'll get mine over with first because it's gonna be quick.
Not sleeping.
Not sleeping a lot and doing a lot of graphic arts because I was a volunteer for Baseline with C4, so it was just fucking crazy the whole time. Basically, the last couple of weeks I've been doing graphic arts, doing like some meetings and stuff like that, just getting stuff prepared, and then being kind of just the go-to guy for a lot of different little projects and everything. So I was super busy with that. So literally, I have not like watched any shows. I haven't got to play any games. I've only gotten to watch like 4 episodes of Game Grumps over the past week. Like it's but you know, life can finally start, you know, resuming this week, so it'll be nice.
I bumped into you like at
all 3 days.
All 3 days and like C4.
You can attest to how busy I was.
C4. I guess just in case you don't know, is like is our Comic-Con here in
Central
Winnipeg.
Canada Comic-Con.
So it's pretty awesome, and I bumped into Dan like all 3 days. Dan and Jamie, and you guys looked exhausted, but like you were also having tons of fun, so it was pretty cool. Yeah, so that was nice. It was nice to see you guys there. I guess I might as well go, unless you had more to say, Dan.
That's it. I was, balls crazy, crazy tired, crazy taxi.
Crazy taxi. Oh, nice. Those are
suffice to say, I'm going to be sleeping good tonight and then waking up, you know, stupid early tomorrow.
So. So for me, I was also at C4 Comic-Con, had a great time there. I went all 3 days, and it was a lot of fun. You know, I didn't have to work there, so I was able to wander around quite a bit.
Yeah, you were on the floor. You got to enjoy it.
So that was good. I got to meet.
Quick note. I did get to play one video game this week when I was streaming on Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
I got to enjoy my new copy of Party Hard on Steam, and I will be streaming it this tomorrow. I guess technically when we're recording this, it's tomorrow, Tuesday again. At 7, maybe we can put a link for that or something like that. But I'll be streaming it again because it is awesome, and I'm gonna be writing a review for it and stuff like that too.
Sweet. So C4. I got to meet Gates McFadden, who played Dr. Beverly Crusher in Star Trek Next Generation, and this was super funny too because I don't really watch the show at all. I was actually getting an autograph from a friend of mine who wasn't able to make it at all. So I had mentioned that to her, and she looks me in the eye. She's like, "What's wrong with you for not watching Next Generation?" I couldn't help but laugh. That was kind of amazing. I love that she said that. That was super good. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. So I also got to meet Rika Muranaka, who's a composer, worked on a lot of Konami games, including but not only Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid, which are two of my favorite franchises.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, and Silent Hill. I'm not Silent Hill. I'm not super familiar with, so I don't really know the music from that too much. But But yeah, so I met her, and I, may have fanboyed a little bit, but I composed myself.
You share fangirls.
Oh well, I mean, I did squeal a bit, but
exactly.
Fanboys, fangirls, we're all just a bunch of fans.
We're all one big family.
Yeah, so
family.
Oh my god,
that's like one of mine. That was amazing. I'm so impressed.
Sorry.
No. Oh, I'm glad. I'm happy for you. But yeah, so that was cool talking to her. She was really interesting, and I guess some of the guys at AYB did an interview with her, which I'm gonna watch because they had some really interesting information there that I'm really excited to hear about.
Yeah, taste a little bits of history of working on the initial Metal Gear Solid game, working personally with Hideo Kojima himself, getting called at all hours of the night about making music and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very interesting interview.
Yeah. So I can't wait to check that out. But yeah, so besides that, let's see. So Halloween, got to watch Ash versus the Evil Dead, which, God, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but man, if you're a fan of the old school Evil Dead movies, just freaking watch that show. You will not be disappointed. Bruce Campbell is in full force, and I love how he just, makes fun of how old he is now and how not in shape he is as well. It's glorious. And again, the bad stuff starts happening just because he's a shitty dude that tries to blast a woman. So it's actually all his own fault, which is also kind of amazing. So yeah, that's good. I guess, again, I can't talk about it too much, but I got into the Battleborn closed beta, so that was neat. Got to try out some cool stuff there. So yeah, woo, that was fun. But yeah, and then besides that, I really haven't been playing too much. It's just been a busy week at work and volunteering, so I'm also tired, but for different reasons. So, but yeah, I'm hoping to just, I'm hoping to finish Bloodborne. I know it's not going to happen this week, but I'm really going to try. I'm definitely going to finish it before that DLC comes out.
Yeah, you better.
So, even if I have to pull some all-nighters, it's going to happen. So yeah, Gary?
Yeah, I've been working a lot, a lot.
A lot.
A lot, probably 55 to 60 hours this week.
Jesus Christ,
but I've somehow found time to edit videos and shit, and still play a bunch of games. So I don't know.
Good job. I don't think Gary sleeps.
Yeah, he actually.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. This week I was just productive, I guess. But yeah, I played a bunch of Tales of Zestiria. I'm about 15 hours in, so at the part where everyone hates the game. So things are gonna happen, and people are gonna leave, and that game's gonna go downhill, I hear. But we will see what happens. I don't know. Yeah. I still feel like it's a pretty good game so far. Battle system's been really good, so the overhaul of it has been pretty good compared to other Tales games.
Neat.
So it's interesting in that regard. The story's just kind of poorly written, but I don't really mind too much.
How are the characters? I mean, in any
they're
Tales
likable.
game,
They're pretty much the same as any other Tales game.
Yeah, they're always going to be archetypes, but if they're interesting and fun and have cool interactions,
they're all likable. And
yeah.
The thing is, they always have these weird interactions where at the beginning of the game, someone will be like, "Oh, this doll is a girl who's trapped inside this doll" or something, and then they'll keep mentioning it slightly, and then they'll sort of forget about it, and then near the end of the game, the main character will be talking to the doll, and they're like, "Yo, that's just a doll. We were making that up." There's always weird interactions like that.
Yeah.
And it's always kind of interesting. And then I downloaded Trials in the Sky second chapter.
Of course you did.
Because I had to. And that game... I just played the prologue, which took me an hour, because I talked to every single NPC I saw. And yeah, I guess.
You got to.
But it just reminded me of everything I loved about that game, where it's just a really unique story, and they really throw a lot of tropes on their head. And I don't know, it just feels good to go through the story. It's not really world ending, they're not saving the world or anything, but it feels like what you're doing is really important anyway.
For sure. I'm always a fan of those type of narratives where it's the stakes aren't the highest, but the stakes aren't the highest as far as the whole world goes. But the stakes are high for the characters, right? And that's important. I like that. I love intimate stories about cool characters.
And the characters are really always pretty relatable, and they're never ridiculous in what they do. They're not like, oh, I'm all angsty about blowing up the Earth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, whoa, let's not go there.
Oh my god, that's super good. I love that.
I don't know if you guys played that, but all angsty about blowing up the Earth and being like, oh, now I can't do anything for like the next 20 hours of this game.
It was more like 5. It was,
I know,
but it was still pretty bad.
Super long because every single time anything would happen, he'd be like, "Oh, I blew up the Earth." Like, go sit in the corner.
Sad face.
Yeah. Playing that game was fun.
But yeah, that's definitely a game that's like it's got a really big cult following, but like it deserves a lot more than it has. Like it really does. That's one of my favorite games.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Sweet. All right, guys. Well, I believe that's it. So
yeah. So basically, what do you guys think? Did you watch any of the trailers? All the trailers from Paris Week? I hope you did, because holy shit, there were some awesome ones. But
did you see PGW and be like, "What the fuck is this?" and not even care?
Yeah.
That was a PGW, and then just move on.
Or you know, I don't blame you too if you didn't watch a bunch of them. If you were an Xbox person instead, because it was I think
it was a Sony show.
It was a Sony show, so it was basically all their stuff, and and you wouldn't have cared then. But what do you guys think? Like, is there anything that we did miss? Because I'm sure there were a few other trailers floating around that we didn't talk about, or maybe some of the ones we ripped on. Maybe tell us why we were wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and
I dare you.
Yeah, because we'd love to hear back from you on that. But yeah, I think that's about it for this one. So
excellent.
So till next time, don't forget to
like,
comment,
and subscribe.
KitaCast out.